Hey, so I just finished watching Godzilla X King Kong something Empire the New Kingdom, whatever it's called. The one that came out about what, late March. So for the most part, there's really not much for me to talk about in the sense of like anything extremely good, extremely bad. It's overall an entertaining movie, and I had fun watching it. I went with some friends. They bought me a pizza, a hot dog, some chips. So I don't know why they bought me so many stuff, but thank you, appreciate that. But basically, I wanted to touch on something that stood out to me for some reason, and I don't even know why. It's not even that bad of a thing. It's not, again, not that good of a thing. Real quick before I get on that, the movie, it's the a sequel for the whole legendary series of the Godzilla movies, and also introducing King Kong. It's not standalone. It's not like the older Godzilla movies, and it's not like the older King Kong movies. Those are kind of standalones. They do their own thing. They have their own lore and stuff. And this one also brings in Titans and stuff. But you know, at some point, Godzilla and King Kong fight, and then in the previous movie, Mecha Godzilla comes out, and so there's stuff going on. They're building their whole own world and lore and storyline and all these other things. And in that series, Godzilla seems to be more compassionate. He sort of understands people, understands King Kong. He understands that he shouldn't be like a bad or something, even though they destroy the millions of houses and all this other stuff. But beside the point, the thing I found weird in this whole movie is the fact that they introduced, and maybe they introduced him before, maybe he's a bigger character than I understood him to be, but this guy named Trapper, he comes in the beginning of the movie. That's not a spoiler. King Kong has a bad tooth, and so the beginning of the movie, King Kong comes up out of Middle Earth, and then is it called Hollow Earth, Middle Earth, whatever. And so this guy comes out and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm super cool." And as he's flying in, they start playing synthwave music, and I was like, okay, maybe this whole theme, the theme to this movie is going to be a little more futuristic, kind of like vibe, wave, synth, whatever. And I was like, okay, I can get behind that, because also I knew from the trailers that King Kong was supposed to get like a gauntlet thing, and so I thought there was going to be like, you know, laser stuff, futuristic, whatever. But so the guy flies in, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm a vet." And the main lady, she's like, "Yeah, when you said that you were gonna be a vet, I didn't. I thought it was gonna be boring, but then you're a Titan vet." And then he was just like, "Yeah, you know me," because he was like, he's this cool guy. But he gets synthwave music, and I was like, okay. I thought it would play for the music. I thought it was for good. It needed to be for King Kong, for Godzilla. He fixes a tooth, and he's good. Movie progresses, and then problems happen, things are happening, you know, escalation, and basically it gets to the point where King Kong needs the hand. And then no, before that, they're flying, and they sort of like, something happens, and then he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I got this." And so he takes the wheel of the ship that they're flying in, and then more synthwave music comes in. I was like, why are they playing synthwave and like special music for this guy? Like, who is this guy?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
They're just highlighting him for some reason, and it's not that like I don't like him. He was a pretty cool character. He had good lines. He was cool, other stuff, but why? And then so we keep going more. We get to the point, like I said, where King Kong needs the fist. And again, I thought it was gonna be more tied to futuristic or something, because I thought the whole thing of the movie was like 80s synthwave, because they were also playing like 80s music and stuff. But so then they find that arm, and he's like, "Don't worry, I remember that it's still over here in this laboratory. Let me go get it." He goes, and as he's going, again, synthwave, cool 80s music starts playing, and this whole time it sounds like I'm complaining, but it's just weird to me, because I like the music. The music was good, that they played when they came out for him, and you know, I think if it added a good sort of vibe to it. And then, but it's just, why? Like, what about him? And then, because I also thought it would apply to Godzilla, and maybe they did sort of go for a general synthwave sort of feel, because Godzilla was pink in this movie. This was like his new form. He absorbed a bunch of energy. He was pink. Yeah, his scales turned pink, and his eyes, and basically all the glow that he had to himself, he was pink, which aligns with the whole synthwave thing. But they didn't give Godzilla special music. They didn't give King Kong special music. They didn't give enemies, other main characters. Literally, I can't. Maybe they did, and maybe I was so fixated on the whole synthwave and the guy, and you know, him getting special treatment for whatever reason, but I didn't notice any other sort of musical differences. I mean, you know, there was tense music, there was fighting music, action, whatever. Very general, generic sort of stuff. But the only thing that stood out in the sense of music was Synthwave that would only play when this guy was the main character for the moment. The movie was good. It was a good movie. It was fun to watch. The fight scenes were good. For King Kong, I felt like he had more screen time, and it was more about him sort of finding stuff and fitting in kind of in where in the Hollow Earth, and then but his fight scenes itself, they gave him more time, more action. He was doing different moves. He had his axe with the Godzilla scale on it. But then, I don't know if it's just because of how strong Godzilla is, and I'm pretty sure, I'm 90% sure that's the reason why, but Godzilla had hardly anything, any sort of action or sequences or anything in his whole movie, because he'd go somewhere and it'd be like, oh, he's gonna go fight this Titan. Arrives, the Titan's like, oh, the Titan sounds, and then Godzilla comes in and he just like kills him in 5 seconds, and they're just like, oh my god, he killed him. Another thing that I did like about the movie is the way that they did pacing. And sort of the storytelling, because they did sort of 3 different storylines. They did King Kong figuring things out over here in Hollow Earth. They did Godzilla preparing for whatever's going to happen in the movie and powering up and turning pink. And then you have the humans, which is the lady, her daughter, or the last Iwi tribe member, and then the guy, and then the other guy. And so they were jumping back and forth. They were all progressing at the same time, but there was different things happening in different areas and for different people, and I think they did that well. And overall, in terms of my recommendation or not, I would say this is a solid movie. I'd probably actually watch it again. I don't know how long it would be in theaters. It's fun to watch movies on theaters. You got the bigger screen, you got the big sound, you got the experience, you got the hot dog, you got the chips, you got the popcorn, you got the pizza. But I think it's worth it. You know, most movie tickets are what, $13, something like that. The good thing is you can find it at, it's playing at all major theaters, and a couple major theaters on Tuesdays and stuff. At least where I live, Tuesdays they have discount days. So I mean, if you're trying to save a little money, go on a Tuesday. But even full price, I think it's worth it. It's a good movie. I think, especially like if you like King Kong, watch it. If you like Godzilla, watch it. If you like the legendary Titans series, watch it. The only reason I'd say not to is if you have no care at all for it, all of the above, and you're just not into this whole genre at all, and it makes you want to run away or something. I don't know. I don't have a reason why people wouldn't watch it. If you're into movies, go watch the movie.